Hi, welcome once again to my channel Creative Edmo. Today we are going to discuss how to tell wild animals. It's a very easy humorous poem by Carolyn Wells. She tells us how to identify different wild animals, but she doesn't do it in boring bookish language. She makes this information interesting by composing it as a poem and using humor. So let's enjoy the beauty of this poem. But before that, don't you forget to subscribe to my channel. So we'll discuss this poem in two parts. First, I'll just explain the poem and meanings of difficult words. After I finish explaining the poem, I'll take up the rhyme scheme and other poetic devices. So let's start. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east. Now, Carolyn Wells was an American writer and poet. So when she talks of East, it means countries on the eastern side of the globe, that is Asian countries. So if you ever go to the jungles in the East, that is the jungles of Asia, and if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast, tawny means orange brown or yellowish brown color. As you can see in the picture of lion, this is tawny color. Beast means animal here. So if a large tawny beast approaches you, that is advances towards you or comes towards you, if he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is the Asian lion. So when his loud roar frightens you to death, that is the beast roars so loudly that you are dying, at that point you will know that it is the Asian lion. So you got to admit it's a bit funny, isn't it? Also, you must have noticed the third line. And if there should to you advance. I'm sure you must have wondered that the words seem to be jumbled here. The order of the words is quite not right, isn't it? Well, it's one of the poetic techniques. Also, the spellings of dying. G is missing. We will discuss about all this in detail after finishing the explanation of the poem. So keep watching. Or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you. Now the poet says that if you happen to roam around, that is walk around those jungles, a noble wild animal may greet you. Again notice the humorous use of language. I hope you know that humorous means funny. So a beast who is going to eat you won't obviously greet you, isn't it? To greet someone is like saying hello, hi, welcoming someone. So while roaming the jungles, this noble wild beast may greet you. With black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. Now this animal has black stripes on a yellow ground. Ground here means background. So you know that tiger has black stripes on yellow skin. So the background is yellow and on it are the black stripes. Just notice the stripes if he eats you. Again the humor in language. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. So he says that this thing will help you in identifying the Bengal tiger. Discern here means identify. So also notice that the poet called tiger as noble wild beast, isn't it? So noble here means impressive. Tigers are often considered as beautiful, majestic creatures. You remember that famous poem, Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright? It's all about how grand, majestic and beautiful creature the tiger is. So coming back to our poem, now we know how to identify Asian lion from its frightening roar and Bengal tiger from its black stripes on yellow skin. Let's see which is the next animal. If strolling forth a beast you view, strolling means walking casually in a relaxed manner. Forth means ahead. So while walking forward in that jungle, a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered. So hide means animal skin. Peppered here means covered with spots. So this animal has skin covered with spots. As soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. So to leap means to take a big jump, like how animals attack by jumping on the prey. It's called pouncing on someone. But the correct spellings of leapt is L-E-A-P-T and the poet has written L-E-P-T. So the poet has done it deliberately, that is knowingly. It is one of the poetic techniques. We'll discuss it later. See, the poet can get away with such things, but you better be careful about your grammar and spellings when attempting English exam. English teachers are quite strict about such things. So the poet can get away with it, but you won't. So when the beast with spots on its skins will leap on you, you will know it's the leopard, because leopard attacks like that. It will do no good to roar with pain, he'll only lep and lep again. So this is contracted form for it will. Okay. So it will do you no good to roar with pain. That is when the leopard has attacked you, and if you roar with pain, it will not help you in any way, because the leopard will lep and lep again. That is, he'll keep on attacking you. So your roaring with pain will not help you. Notice the wrong spellings again. It's L-E-A-P, leap. But the poet has used lep, because lep seems better with leopard. So the poet takes this poetic license to change the spellings. We'll discuss about it in detail in poetic techniques. If when you're walking round your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. Now, bears are known to come around campsites or backyards of houses near the jungle. So the poet says that while walking around your yard that is backyard, back garden of the house, you meet a creature who hugs you very, very hard. Now, bears are known to kill their victims by hugging them to death. That's why it's called a bear hug. So from the hug, you will know it's a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess he'll give you just one more caress. And if you still have doubts, then perhaps the bear will give you one more caress. Now, caress means gentle, loving touch. But of course, the bear hug that will kill you can nowhere be gentle. So again, it's the humorous use of language. So we get to know about the different ways the animals look and hunt. But this knowledge is given in a light-hearted manner to make it interesting for the readers. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus. Now, beasts of prey means animals who hunt and kill others. Novice means someone inexperienced, someone new to a job. So, to distinguish the beasts of prey, that is, to identify and know the differences between one wild animal and the other, a novice, an inexperienced person might be nonplussed. To be nonplussed means to be puzzled, to be confused, to be surprised. So a beginner might get confused while identifying and distinguishing these beasts of prey, these wild animals. Notice that the poet again uses the incorrect word instead of the correct word nonplussed. It's written as nonplus. SED, these words are missing. So this has been done because the poet wants the word nonplus to rhyme with thus. Okay, so again the poetic license has been taken by the poet. We'll discuss it in detail in a while. So since a novice may get confused as to how to tell the differences between a hyena and a crocodile, so the poet says, the crocodile you always may tell from the hyena thus. So how to tell crocodile from hyena means like tell the differences between the two. How to know which beast is the hyena and which is the crocodile. So the poet says this is the way to tell the difference between a hyena and a crocodile. Hyenas come with merry smiles. Merry means happy smiles. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they are crocodiles. So it's believed that hyena looks like it's smiling or laughing when attacking and eating their victims. Even the sound of hyena is similar to laughing. Here's the sound of hyena. Listen to it. It seems like it's laughing, isn't it? And crocodiles seem to be weeping, crying. That's why there's a phrase called crocodile tears also. When you pretend to be sad, but in fact you're not. Okay, so crocodiles would obviously be happy while hunting, but there's a belief that they look as if they are crying when hunting and eating the prey. So if the animal is smiling while attacking, it's hyena. If it's weeping, it's crocodile. The true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. So physically, chameleon looks like a lizard with no ears and no wing. If there is nothing on the tree, it's the chameleon you see. So this TIS, tits, is a contraction for it is. So if there's nothing on the tree, it is the chameleon you see. It seems like a contradiction, something opposite, isn't it? If nothing is present, then it's chameleon. How? So this refers to the ability of chameleons to blend themselves with their surroundings. You must have studied about it in science. They can hide pretty well because if chameleon is near something green, it will change its color to green. If it's near something brown, it will change its color to brown so that no animal can see it and attack it. So if you think there's nothing on the tree, then it's chameleon. Why? Because it's camouflaging itself, hiding by being the same color as the background. So let's take a quick look at all the animals mentioned in the poem. So the poet tells us that the lion is a large and tawny beast, and you can identify lion by its frightening roar that will frighten you to death. A tiger is a noble wild beast, and you can identify it by its black stripes on a yellow background, and also if it eats you, isn't it? A leopard has skin covered with spots and it leaps and attacks. Bears hug their victims, and a hyena laughs while swallowing its victim, whereas a crocodile weeps while swallowing its victim, and a chameleon is like a lizard without any ears or wings. It can camouflage, so when you think there's nothing on the tree, there's chameleon. So with her humorous use of language, Carolyn Wells makes this poem quite interesting to read. The fierce wild animals, the physical descriptions and the ways in which they can kill, all this information has been presented in a light-hearted manner. So the contrast itself, the deadly animals and the humorous way in which the poet talks about them, this contrast makes this poem quite interesting and entertaining. Now let's have a quick look at the rhyme scheme of the poem. Now you know that in order to find the rhyme scheme of a stanza, we look at the last words in each line and we label the words that rhyme as same. For example, here chance and advance rhyme. So I label both these words as A. East rhymes with beast. So both these words are labeled as B. Similarly, dying line. So both these words have been labeled C. Okay. You'll also notice that the poet has changed the spellings of dying. G is missing here. So here she has done it deliberately so that the word may rhyme with line. This way of changing spellings and grammar by a poet is referred to as poetic license. We'll discuss its examples after the rhyme scheme. So our final rhyme scheme comes out as A, B, A, B, C, C. All the stanzas of the poem follow this same rhyme scheme. Now this stanza over here, round rhymes with ground, you, learn, discern. So rhyme scheme is A, B, C, C. Next stanza, view, you, they both rhyme, peppered, leopard, pain, again. So rhyme scheme A, B, C, C. Yard rhymes with hard, there, bear, guess, caress. So A, B, C, C. Pray, may, nonplus, thus, smiles, crocodiles. A, B, C, C. Again, if you remember, I told you about this nonplus also. So the poet has again changed the spellings of this word so that it may rhyme with thus. Then last stanza, small, all, thing, wing, tree, sea. So rhyme scheme is A, B, C, C. Now we will study the poetic devices in each stanza. So let's begin with stanza 1. So the first poetic device is obviously poetic license. I talked about it earlier also. If a poet or a writer uses poetic license, it means he or she breaks the normal rules of language or style in order to make the poem more interesting. Now look at this word over here, dying. Okay, so the spellings of dying has been changed. G is missing here so that it can rhyme better with line. This is an example of poetic license. Okay. So next poetic device in this stanza is inversion or anastrophe. It's a literary technique in which the normal order of words is reversed in order to achieve a particular effect. For example, instead of writing I like apples, you write apples I like. So this is an example of inversion. So in this third line over here, inversion has been used. You can see that the words seem jumbled, isn't it? And if there, should, to, you, advance. This has been done so as to make the word advance come in the last so that it could rhyme with chance. Okay. So next poetic device is assonance. Now do you remember what was assonance? It is the repetition of vowel sounds. Vowel is A, E, I, O, U. You remember? So it is a repetition of vowel sounds in words or phrases which are close to each other. Now in this stanza, O sound has been repeated. Like you can see, you should go, okay, and then should to you, isn't it? So assonance has been used here. Next important device is poetic devices, enjambment. You must remember it from your poem Dust of Snow, isn't it? So it is a continuation of a sentence to the next line without using any punctuation mark. Now look at these lines here. If ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east. Now it's very clear that this one idea, this one sentence is continuing to the next line, isn't it? And there is no punctuation mark over here. Punctuation mark means full stop, your comma or anything like that. So whenever you see any lines like this, the technique used is enjambment. Okay, even in this. And if there, should, to, you, advance, a large and tawny beast. So enjambment has been used here. Now let's discuss the poetic devices in stanza 2. So the first device is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds. I just told you about assonance. Assonance was a repetition of vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U. All other alphabets are the consonant sounds. Okay. So alliteration has been used here where this roaming round. So repetition of r sound. In alliteration, the repetition of consonant sound is often in the beginning of the words. Okay, remember that, beginning of the words. So roaming round. So there is a repetition of r sound in the beginning of words. Okay. Next device which has been used here is inversion. I just told you about inversion in which the normal order of words is reversed. You remember that example? I like apples, apples I like. So over here in this line, the technique inversion has been used. The Bengal Tiger to discern. Okay. So next poetic device here is assonance. There's a lot of prominence of O sound here, or, some, so roaming, round, noble. So assonance has been used here, repetition of O sound. Okay. Now in this stanza, the most prominent poetic device is poetic license. We discussed about it while explaining the poem also, isn't it? So the spellings of leapt, A is missing here. So instead of L-E-A-P-T, the poet has used L-E-P-T. Okay. And instead of L-E-A-P, it's L-E-P, leapt. Okay. So this liberty of changing the spellings, this is poetic license. And why has a poet done it? The spellings of leapt and leapt, they have been changed. Why? Because leapt sounds better with leopard, isn't it? Instead of leap, it's leapt. So leapt sounds better with leopard, and to create that musical rhythmic effect, the poet has taken this poetic license. Now next poetic device is repetition. It's repeating words or phrases for emphasis. So here leap and leap. So this has been done to create a musical effect, no doubt, and also to emphasize how leopards leap and attack, and they will not stop even if you roar with pain. Okay. So the next poetic device here is assonance, repetition of O sound. Look at these words: strolling, forth, you, whose, spots, and in these lines over here again, do, no, good, to, roar. Okay. So assonance has been used here, repetition of O sound. Then there's another device here, consonance. Now consonance is also the repetition of consonant sounds. Then how is it different from alliteration? In alliteration, there is repetition of consonant sound, but it is in the beginning of the word. Like previously I told you roaming round. So the repetition of r sound was in the beginning of the word, isn't it? But in consonants, this repetition can be in the beginning, the middle, or the end of the word. So in this line, consonance has been used. The heel, only, lep and lep. So this l sound has been repeated, okay, but it is consonants, not alliteration here. But if you consider only lep and lep, then you can say it is alliteration because the repetition is there in the beginning of the words, lep and lep. Then it is alliteration. Also, he has repetition of her sound here. This is also an example of alliteration. Now in this stanza there's enjambment in these lines. If you have any doubts, I guess he'll give you just one more caress. So the same idea has been continued to the next line. Then there's alliteration. There's repetition of w sound here, when, walking. Then there's repetition of b sound, be, bear. And again in these lines you can see this y has been repeated many times. Your, yard, you. Okay. So all these are examples of alliteration. Then next is consonance. Where is consonance? The repetition of her sound. Who, hugs. Okay. Then there is assonance. Next is assonance. The repetition of a sound over here. You can see. Just 1 minute. Yes. You can see over here. Meet, creature, there, very, very. So this is assonance. Okay. Then there is repetition. Repetition of very, very. Okay. These two words. So this has been done to emphasize how hard the bear is going to hug you. Okay. In order to kill you. Okay. So in this stanza, there's alliteration, repetition of n sound, novice, nonplus. Okay. So next is enjambment. So there's in these two lines, though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus. The same idea has been continued to the next line without a punctuation mark. So enjambment has been used. Then the most important one is poetic license. We discussed about it while explaining the poem also, that this nonplus word is wrong. Actually the word is to be nonplussed, SED, that is missing here. Okay, so that means to be surprised or to be confused by something. So now why has the poet taken poetic license here? Because the poet wanted this word nonplus to rhyme with thus. Okay, so this poetic license has been taken here. So this is no word nonplus. So it should have been nonplussed, SED. These words are, these alphabets are missing here. Now in the last stanza, there's alliteration, repetition of her sound, he hasn't. Okay. Then there is consonance, repetition of g sound, single wing. Okay. Then there is paradox. Now what is paradox? Paradox is the statement that appears to have two opposite things, something that seems impossible or untrue, like in these last two lines. But when you study it deeper, you realize it's true. So paradox is a statement that appears at first to be contradictory, but upon reflection makes sense. Like how it's said that there's nothing on the tree, but then it is said it's a chameleon you see. So this seems opposite, okay, but then it makes sense also because we know that it refers to the ability of chameleon to camouflage, to blend with its surroundings, so that you can't actually you don't actually realize that there's chameleon on the tree. Okay, so paradox as a poetic technique has been used here. Okay, so then overall, if we look at the overall poem, there is a lot of humor and irony in all the stanzas. Now I'm talking about all the stanzas. So this humor comes from the use of language, and I discussed this while explaining the poem. Okay, and then there's irony. What is irony? Now this is the technique in which what is said and what is meant are different. Okay, so this is called irony. Like for example, it was said a noble wild beast greets you. So the tiger is going to kill you, so it's not going to greet you. Okay, then he'll give you just one more caress. So caress is a gentle, it's a term used for gentle touch. Okay, but this bear is not going to caress you, it's going to kill you. Okay, so this is irony. Okay. So I think I have covered almost everything. Please don't forget to like and share with your friends, and do subscribe to the channel. It will encourage me immensely. Let me know in the comment section which chapter or poem do you want me to explain next. And in case you have not watched the other videos of class 10, then please check the description box below. All links are given there. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.